On board, we don't cook any food on naked fire. All the food is cooked on electronic range.
Every week, over 6,000 people vacation aboard the world's largest cruise ships. And all of those people have to eat. Not just breakfast, lunch, and dinner either. We're talking snacks, desserts, late night pizza, room service, and sometimes people eat 6, 8, even 10 times a day on a cruise ship, which means the kitchens on these ships never stop. They operate 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, with culinary teams of over 1,000 crew members working behind the scenes. And every single day, they produce over 30,000 meals. 30,000. All from compact kitchens on a moving ship in the middle of the ocean. So how does all this food actually make it to your plate? In January 2026, I spent a month on board Royal Caribbean's Symphony of the Seas, and during my time, I was invited to take a tour of the Galley. Let's go behind the scenes and find out. Hey, it's Linnell reporting from the far side of Ordinary. Before we get started in the kitchen, let's take a quick peek inside the bridge. Normally, guests never get access up here, so when my friends and I were invited, we had to get scanned before entering. Here are a few fun facts we learned during our visit. As we toured the bridge, we found out that the helipad marking that you see on the front of the ship includes a number that represents how much weight it can support. On the front of the ship, you'll see a number painted on the helipad. On this ship, the number is 10, which means the largest helicopter allowed to land there can weigh up to 10 metric tons. The number is different on different ships depending on the size and strength of the helipad. If the ship sounds one long horn while docked, that's actually a warning signal telling people near the ship to move away immediately. If they don't move, the crew can use a high-powered water hose to clear the area. Thankfully, they've never had to do that on Symphony. Not yet, anyway. Inside the bridge, the steering controls were surprisingly simple. The main control used to maneuver the ship is actually a joystick that looks a lot like a video game controller. And the stabilizers that keep the ship steady in calm water can sometimes stay set for up to 6 hours without needing any adjustments. Standing up there, looking out over the ocean from the command center of one of the largest cruise ships in the world was pretty incredible. But after that quick detour, it was time to head to another place that most passengers never get to see, the Galley. The first thing I learned on this tour is that dinner on a cruise ship is basically a giant logistics puzzle because you can't have 6,000 people show up for dinner all at the same time. So everything runs in waves. Early dining usually starts around 5 p.m., late dining happens around 7:30 p.m., and then there's flexible dining in between. That staggered system allows the ship to serve thousands of people every night without chaos. As an experienced cruiser, I have actually seen some chaos, so let's just say that they serve thousands of people with very little chaos. Behind the scenes, the scale of food operation is enormous. There are about 750 crew members just in the food and beverage department. That includes chefs, servers, bartenders, buffet staff, room service teams, and cafe crews. Your waiter might serve you dinner in the dining room at night, but that same person could be working breakfast or lunch earlier in the day somewhere else on the ship. And above them are the head waiters and supervisors managing the dining experience. At the top is the food and beverage director, coordinating everything from menus to service schedules. Think of them as the air traffic controller of food for the entire ship. Here's something most passengers don't realize. The survey that you fill out at the end of the cruise, it can actually reward the crew.
So this is the Hall of Fame. If you see, this is for the waiters and assistant waiters who have been recognized by their guests for the previous cruise, and as per their ranking, they have been given their offs and specialities. So we even have like something called as VLC card. That is the scratch. It's a scratch card. When they scratch it, might be a day off or they get free internet. So just to encourage and make sure that they're taking good care of you and you keep on booking your cruise and come back again and again.
So that survey at the end of your cruise that only takes you 2 to 3 minutes to complete is actually a really big deal. Now we're about to step into the galley. This is the ship's main kitchen. Right now it looks calm, quiet, almost empty. But during dinner service, this place turns into controlled chaos. because the dining room can seat around 900 guests at a time, and then they do it again over and over each night. Picture this. At 5 p.m., around 900 guests walk into the dining room. Between 5:45 and 6:45, you have another 900 guests on the anytime dining schedule. And then again at 7:30, another 900 guests enter for the late dining. So the kitchen has to push out hundreds of meals in minutes. Salads get staged, soup kettles get filled, stations are prepped, because once orders start coming in, the kitchen moves fast. Even drinks are timed. Once a guest sits down and orders a drink, the crew has a goal to deliver it within 6 to 7 minutes. Now imagine hundreds of guests ordering drinks all at one time. Saving even 1 minute per drink adds up when thousands of drinks are served every night.
So that are the challenges what we face when there is a delay in drinks. But we have a time frame of 6 to 7 minutes once the guest is inside. We have to make sure in 7 minutes we serve the drinks. Please come inside. Now this map is almost like the Indiana Jones map, how he goes for a treasure. He has to see the number out over here and he goes inside and he goes around the table. Sometimes it happens is like the table number is underneath the bread basket, or by mistake the table numbers have been switched. And these are the major reasons we have a delay in the drinks. But we normally make sure that there should be no delay. We just want to make sure that when you come in the dining room, you enjoy your dinner and you leave the dining room fast so that you can go and enjoy the rest of the things. Right behind you, if you can see, we have the Coke machines. These are very handy and these are very time savings. We don't have to use two hands. We can just take the glass out over there from the rack. I'll just demonstrate you. It is not working, I think so. So it is just one hand use what we can do. We have the dispenser down over here, the ice is here and the Coke. We have the knob over there and the Coke comes in. This saves almost like 1 to 2 minutes for us of opening bottles and cans and pouring it, where we keep the tray, and this is just done by one hand. So this is how the company is trying to save the time. If you go to Star and Legend, maybe there's some other machine, a sensor one is there, which is much more quicker and efficient to save the time. So this is how the company is trying to save the time and make sure you get a proper service and you go and enjoy the ship.
Something I would have never thought about: ice. Older ships require crew to scoop ice manually, which meant ice machines got contaminated constantly. Now the ships use touch-free dispensers so nobody has to scoop. Because if the ice machine gets contaminated, the entire machine has to be emptied, cleaned, inspected, and shut down for a day. And that's a huge problem when you're serving thousands of people.
The ice dispenser what you see over here is very helpful for us because we have almost 40 to 50 assistant waiter going every time to refill the glasses with the scoopers. Every time when they used to do this, every week, like we used to have the ice machine getting contaminated. So this one is a very good help for us, not getting the ice machine contaminated. Once it is contaminated, we have to empty it up, we have to clean it up, we have to seal it and make sure that it is not used for at least for a day. The sanitization officer comes, he inspects the machine, and then only we can use the machine.
This ship serves about 30,000 meals every single day. First breakfast, second breakfast, brunch, lunch, dinner, snacks, pizza, room service, desserts. And all of that food is coming from these tiny kitchens, which makes this entire operation even more impressive. And then there's my favorite, lobster night. If you cruised before, you know that lobster is one of the most popular dinners. So the ship goes through a shocking amount of it, about 2,000 pounds of lobster tails every week. During my tour of the galley, they showed us containers full of lobsters getting ready to be cooked. And when you see that much lobster at once, you realize something. This isn't just a kitchen. It's basically a floating food factory. Every week when the ship docks, the food operation starts all over again. About 30 trucks arrive at the port carrying supplies. Those trucks deliver roughly 500 pallets of food. In total, the ship loads about 600,000 pounds of food and drinks every week. Everything has to be on board before the ship leaves port, because once the ship sails, there's no grocery stores at sea. One thing that surprised my group was that when a ship docks and it gets all the food on the ship, it has to get all the food for that sailing. So on a 7-day sailing like we were on, they had to get all the food for the entire 7 days out of Miami. They didn't pick up food in the different ports that we went to. They didn't stop and grab food along the way. There was no grocery store, no 7-Eleven. Every food that was on that ship was delivered before the ship sailed out of Miami when we had embarkation day. I know what you're going to ask next. Well, what about sailings that are more than 7 days? I don't know the answer to that. I'm just telling you what I learned on this sailing right here. The secret highway. All those supplies move through a hidden crew corridor called I-95. It runs along deck 2 and stretches almost the entire length of the ship. Crew use it like a highway to move food, equipment, and supplies around the ship.
So it is for 7 days label. Every week this thing comes in, it is checked by our sanitization officer, F&B manager, HD and the store manager. Nothing is approved, nothing is on board without their approval.
Before food is cooked, ingredients go through prep kitchens. The ship's butcher processes roughly 15,000 pounds of beef every week, 9,700 pounds of chicken. Vegetables are chopped in another room, fish is thawed in controlled storage boxes, and lobster, about 2,000 pounds of lobster tails every week.
Now this is the cleaning part, how it starts. As you can see, we have multiple doors. One from which we came in, the other one is to go inside. Every door is having a hand wash sink, just to make sure that every time we wash our hands when we are coming inside or we are coming in the galley, to make sure the highest level of hygiene is taken care, because washing hands is the best practice to get the virus away from us. So we have to make sure every time when we come inside we wash our hands. The trolleys are sanitized over here, the dirty stuff is left over here. After they sanitize the trolley, they go ahead and then they get a new tray down over here. The cleaning part starts from the dirty side. When they come in with the clearance, they put the tray down on the rack, on the railings over here. We have multiple bins, if you can see. We have 4 bins. So like the red one is for the general waste. We'll just allow them to move and then thank you very much. So the cleaning, so the separation is like the red one is for all the general waste, plastic, paper, wood, what is there we put in the general red one. The grey one is for broken china, any china or glasses, soup bowls are broken, all the china goes in this. The blue one is for cans, the cans for Coke, beer, whatever tin cans are there, we put it in this. And then the next grey is for the glasses, wine bottle, the other bottles what we use, all we put in this. These all things are reusable, recycled. So like the tin, china and glasses, these 3 things are recycled. We have crushers on deck number 2, where all this stuff, when it is full, it goes down on deck number 2, it is segregated, the labels are removed and it is crushed, packed and sent it to the vendors in Miami. There is a X amount coming out of this recycled stuff when it goes to the vendor. This amount the company uses for the crew welfare, just to make sure that the crew are encouraged, the crew have some good time. Once they finish their work, they go to the crew bar. There is a crew bar for us. We have PS3, there are few gamings that they can do, there is a massage chair. So like this is where the company use that money.
The ship even has its own bakery. Crew bake about 40 different types of bread from scratch, everything from dinner rolls to international breads. Now here's something that surprised me: food waste. Cruise ships have strict environmental rules. Fruit peels, vegetable scraps, leftovers, all of it gets processed separately. Certain organic waste can be released into the ocean, but only far out and only with approval from the ship's environmental officer. Other materials are recycled or incinerated. It's all part of the cruise industry's environmental program called Save the Waves.
Now comes the food part. Once the food is in here, they put it down over here. The food is segregated from eatable and non-eatable. The non-eatables are the bone, the skins of fruits like watermelon, oranges, the skins is not eatable, so we segregate that. No china, no silver is mixed with the food. Pure eatable stuff, food goes in this pulper down over here. This one goes on deck number 2. Deck number 2 we have a big tankers where all the food goes down. It gets segregated, the solid and the liquid. The liquid food goes into an AWP, which is an advanced water purifier. This produces 99.09% of drinkable water. But we don't use this water on board. This water goes in the sea and make sure that the sea is not getting polluted. There is an X amount of food dispatched in the sea, but this is only allowed by our environmental officer, who is authorized person to let us know or let the deck number 2 know that when they're gonna release some food. Sometime you might see a black smoke coming from the chimney. Normally there is no black smoke, always a white smoke. This black smoke is about when we are burning the recycled stuff like the paper, the general waste. So that is the time. So this all things happen on board, but it is all done under the government permission, we have a program called Save the Wave. That is what we follow, and this one is the program that allows us to do this thing. We release the food also right in the middle of the sea, not near the port. There is at particular nautical miles, that is where we can release the food in the sea, just to make sure that we have plenty fish for the next cruise. So we release the food, then we catch the fish.
Here's another fun fact. Living on cruise ships full time, I've started noticing little things that most passengers never think about. One of those things is the smoke coming from the top of the ship. Most of the time when you see exhaust coming out, it actually looks white. That's normal. It's mostly steam and cleaned exhaust from the ship's systems. But every once in a while, you might see darker smoke and it may even be black. During this galley tour, I learned one reason that can happen. Cruise ships have onboard incinerators that process certain types of waste. So sometimes what you're seeing isn't engine exhaust at all. It's part of the ship's waste management system doing its job behind the scenes. In other words, even the smoke coming from the cruise ship is a part of the food operation. Who knew?
The food is presented like we have 4 chefs working inside, 3 inside, who's plating the food. There is a picture, like SOP as I said, is how the food need to be presented. We cannot change the process of the picture. So the company gives us an approval that there should be a baked potato over here, broccoli over here, carrot over here, and the meat over here. This is how all the plate need to be presented, and this is the standard. Once they present it, they keep it down over here ready, and the assistant waiters, when they come in, they start picking up the food. They let the chef know, okay, I need 4 medium. The plate is ready, he just put the steak and he has to pick up and put it on the trolley. This takes 7 to 8 minutes for him to pick up the food from here once he starts from the line. There is a red line. I am sorry we missed that red line right at the back. That is where they line up to get the food. Sometimes there is a delay for food if the food is very popular. If there is a modification, like sometimes I don't like to have carrots, and like if the steak plate is having carrot, I would say, okay, I don't want carrot, but I need extra broccoli. In this case, the chef has to make the plate again. He just don't remove the carrot and give, because sometimes guests might be allergic, which they don't tell, and there might be a side effect. So that is the reason they have to start again, make the plate. So that is where sometimes it takes time to get the food inside.
And the people running all this, they work incredibly hard. Most chefs work 10 to 12-hour shifts. Their contracts typically last 4 months, often without a single day off. Nope, not even Sundays. Some crew work early morning to afternoon, others work overnights. Together, they keep the kitchen running 24 hours a day. By the time the day is over, these kitchens will have produced over 30,000 meals. And tomorrow, they'll do it all over again. Because feeding thousands of people on a cruise ship isn't just cooking, it's logistics and it's planning. And it's a team of thousands of crew members working behind the scenes. Most passengers never see any of this. They just sit down, order dinner, and enjoy the cruise. But now you know what it actually takes to feed 30,000 meals a day at sea. This has been Linnell with more proof that life doesn't have to look the way they said it should.